So if you've been following my manga hauls at all, you know I've been trying to branch out from the seinen and shonen of it all. And so that's what I'm going to do in this video, if you couldn't tell by the title. And there's going to be timestamps for each series as I talk about them.
Whoa, this is me from the future. Hello. So apparently, listen, I got this shoujo list from the internet, and the internet should not lie to me. Apparently, the internet never lies. You know this, I know this. But actually, while I was shooting this video, I read that some of these series on this list, some people don't consider shoujos. And I didn't know that. Listen, I literally Google best shoujos of like 2023, and it got me a list, and I picked some off that list. So I apologize if some of these are not shoujo. I was under the impression when I shot this video that they were shoujo. And as always, let me know in the comments down below some good series that are shoujo, and hopefully you enjoy this video because it was a ton of fun to do. All right, back to the past. Regular video, start now. Yeah.
And they're all going to be volume 1s. We have HoriMiya, Nana, Snow White with the red hair, Skip and Loafer, Yona of the Dawn, Haru Ride. Yeah, you're going to have to forgive me how to pronounce that title. But yeah, I don't know. I thought this would be fun. So come hang out with me for a week as I read shoujo
I might have started off with a banger. This is only the first chapter. I'm going to finish the rest of the book, but I just had to come in here and tell you, Nana has some issues. And the thing about it is, like, I feel like I could talk forever about this first chapter. Because I think it's more, she is not self-confident in herself. And that's why she finds herself in a lot of predicaments with the guys that she's interested in, right? And I could think about that for a while. But what I will say is, I do love how this Volume 1, Chapter 1, it's introducing you to like these 4 characters. And they are all so very different and very interesting in the first chapter. And I think that's hard to do with any type of manga, but I would read a story about any of these characters right off the bat. I think they're so interesting. Kayazuki, though, number 1. She got lost in Tokyo. That is the only dude that said, I'm going to pick up the... We have cell phones. Hello. Hey, where are you? Good? That dude's great. That dude is fantastic. But yeah, I think there's 2 more chapters in this volume. But I just had to interject and... Boy. Whew. This is going to be a long week, isn't it? I will tell you this. I scared the cat. I'm sorry. We were relaxing reading this manga. I will tell you this, right? When I first started the next chapter, I was like, oh, it's doing like a time skip thing. Uh-oh. Well, no. Something does not add up. And the story's about 2 people named Nana. I did not know that. The whole story was about their relationships with other people and kind of how they view themselves. Well, at least the first Nana definitely viewed herself and took her self-worth from the relationships that she had with other people. The second Nana, less so. Well, she had the tough exterior, but she really cared for Rin. You know what I mean? And kind of found her self-worth in that. But then she wanted to force herself. It's a really good story beat. She wanted to force herself. Yeah, I know. No, she wanted to force herself. Go get him. Go get him, champ. Go. Run. You can do it. She was so excited about the second Nana forcing herself to be her own person. And what I really liked about it too, and even the author says it in the back, they designed this to be kind of like a self-contained story, but that could lead on to a serialization, which we obviously know now that Nana continued for multiple volumes. But obviously, I want to know more. You probably want to know more. But I definitely think that if you are into relationships or into characters that are trying to find themselves and are very flawed, and have a lot of problems, but are so interesting that you want to see them overcome these issues that they have within themselves, I think this is fantastic. Also, I absolutely have to say, The artwork, it felt like a daydream. The artwork was very much like, I don't know, I got a hazy, dreamy thing from it, and I really, really dug it. But yeah, this is a super strong volume to start. So this shoujo stuff that people talk about, we have some stuff to look forward to. So let's get on to the next one. Okay, so it's bedtime. If you can't tell, you know, it's time to go the night, as people say. What? But I thought, what better manga to read at night time? Snow White with the Red Hair. It's a classic fable. I'm sure that's exactly what the manga is. It's a retelling of the great fairy tale. So yeah, it's got a lot to live up to. Nana surprised me. How am I supposed to get any reading done with this happening? Hey man, you know, trying to make a video? No, keep doing you. Hey, keep living your best life. You know what I'm saying? I hear you. So I'm going to be honest, right? This book right here is very close to shonen. Like, I had to look on the cover and I was like, oh, Viz, that makes sense. It does have the Shoujo Beat, you know, title on the top too, but to the paneling, to everything about it, except for saving the world, instead, like in chapter 3, they're like, we gotta save these plants. With these plants, so I gotta get this herbalist license because I need to be in the castle with Zen. But besides the stakes, the paneling, the action, there's even one chapter, I think it was chapter 2, she gets taken as hostage, and it could have easily been a part of a shonen manga, but that's not a bad thing. See, this is what I want to say, right? I think this is one of the perfect ones so far. I know I've only read 2. I hear what you're saying. I have a lot more to read before we're done with this journey, but I think this one, you could do that leap from shonen to shoujo with this one. I absolutely think that. The setting's pretty good. The main 2 characters, Zin and Shirayuki, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce her name. They're great. They are so great, especially such a whiplash from earlier with Nana, where like the main focus was, I need to find self-worth. These 2 characters are so headstrong in who they are as a person, and it is so great. It's so good. When Zen tells, I forgot his name, but when he tells him, you know, the nobles are all about titles and all that, he's like, yeah, to keep yours or something to that effect. I'll put the panel on screen. Boy, let me tell you, Zen, you're all right. Yeah, you dude. Hey, man. A+. A+. But so the story is, especially the first chapter, you absolutely see the Snow White influences, the apples and all that. But really, truthfully, it's about this girl, Shirayuki, pretty sure. Again, let me know in the comments. I know I'm probably going to butcher that name, so thank you. But because of her red hair, the prince wants her as a concubine, right? And she's like, forget that. Cuts her hair, leaves lock for him to stare at so he can get tired of the red hair. Like, dude, great personality on her. She goes to the woods, runs into Zen. Zen, come to find out, is the prince of a neighboring town? Prefecture? City? And then it becomes the story of, you know, Zen has the type of power, and this is what I love about his character too. He has the ability to let her in the castle, let them hang out together, you know, start a relationship, whatever it may be, because, you know, he's the prince, right? He doesn't even do that because he knows that she is headstrong in being, you know, her own person and getting into the castle and being by his side on her own, you know, word, on her own actions, on her own way. And instead of just being like, oh, yeah, I can easily do that, he's letting her, even with the herbalist exam and stuff and all this, it's 3 chapters long. There's actually the author's second short story is in the back. I think it's called, hold on, please hold. Colorful Seasons of August. So it's only 3 chapters. Here's the thing, and while the short story was like fine, like it was okay, to me it's a bummer. because I'm picking up this series and I really liked these characters, and I would have loved another chapter in this manga instead of a one-shot. Like, short story collections are fine to get to know like where the authors come from and the work they've done before that. But at the end of this, to have that short story for like 40 something pages, it was fine, but it was kind of a bummer. But that is pretty much my only complaint with this series. I think so far, I mean, I know we have like 4 more to go, but so far, while I really enjoyed Nana's, really could be a deep story, if you're looking to jump from shonen to shoujo, man, like, I don't know. I really dug this. And I think it's a quick read. It's not super wordy because I know sometimes shoujo, right? From what I have heard, again, I don't know. I'm learning. This is new to me, but it could be a little wordy. This to me, like I said, from paneling to dialogue to the art style, it's the closest I've seen to shonen, which is, again, definitely, I am not saying a bad word. I think that is a bonus, especially for someone like me trying to branch out into a different genre. But I cannot reiterate, what a whiplash to go from Nana to Snow White with the red hair. Let me tell you, boy. But yeah, let's go on to the next one.
All right, so yeah, I'm in my car. I'm taking a break from working to read Skip and Loafer. I think the anime just came out. I don't know much about it. I've heard like the name and that it's good, but again, I have no idea what I'm about to read. But yeah, I thought, taking a break from work, get some manga reading in. So yeah, let's do it.
So this story has been done time and time again, right? Like, absolutely been done to death in whatever form of media you consume. But I can absolutely see why this got such a popular reception, or has at least been talked about in the anime and manga community. And to me, this is why. It is such an enjoyable read. Like, you just have such a good time reading it. The comedy's really well done, the characters are really nice, and the whole purpose, at least in this first volume, is, and she says it at the end, it's who you're experiencing it with, and the cast of characters around the 2 main characters is incredible. You have all the stereotypes, the beautiful popular girl, the kind of nerdy girl, the girl that's like friendly, but she has ulterior motives. Like, you have the stereotypical characters you have seen in TV shows, manga, whatever, time and time again. But some things that stood out to me. The opening of this manga. I loved it. I loved it because it shows who that character Mitsumi is immediately. She's having, this is how, it's picture perfect, it's gonna go great. It doesn't. It goes south for her. I will say the unsung hero, though, is, I think it's Kumi? Her friend back at, back where she came from, that she calls on the phone and sends pictures and stuff. Dude, hey, all right. That's a pretty good character. And they're even like, she's like, oh, it went great. At the end of the day, they're like, no, it did. She got lost. They know her. They know her all too well. But what really stood out to me is they set up that character immediately. She comes off as like, kind of like she needs to control every aspect of her life. What I did like about it, and it was shown when she made her speech and forgot her notes, right? Sometimes those characters, they really show the control. Like, if it gets out of their control, they kind of shut down. She powered through the speech. I mean, yeah, barfed on the principal, fair, but made it through the speech and became known as the puker and then the secret boss. I don't know. I think she's a really well done character. Again, it's only a few chapters, so it's hard to really establish where the creator wants to go with that character in 4 or 5 chapters, but I think she comes off really well done. Not as well done, though, as Shima, the dude character. He's awesome. Like, he's awesome. Not only, apparently, everybody's in love with him and stuff. He's the energy transferred from the page of he is just a puppy. Like, he has that that spirit about him, just like puppy spirit, really comes across well. But, and I think if you've read it, you kind of know where I'm going with it. The drama stuff where he has a secret past. And, you know, he comes off as this carefree character to go up against her very stiff, you know, I have my whole life planned out in front of me. This is how it's going to happen. And he comes off as like, dude, I was going to be late. You know, honestly, I was thinking about not even going, but then I ran to you. So yeah, I guess I guess we'll make it. But when he has the conversation with the drama student trying to get him to join drama club, and there's a key sentence in there when he goes, as a so-called artist, you should understand that I don't want to talk about it. Am I the only one that got like he was kind of talking down to him? Like he's kind of got that, he's kind of got a dark side to him. I think a dark past. I don't know. I hope they go that route with that character. I think that'd be interesting. I was not expecting, I thought he was just going to be like the lovable puppy dog goofball. And then there was a few scenes where you're like, oh, okay. All right. No. There might be something to him. And that's just good writing. And I think they're building a great cast of characters. And I think that's all you can ask for, especially in a first volume of a manga. And honestly, yeah, I'm going to read volume 2. 100%. Like, just to see where they go, if he really does have that dark side to him, or a dark past to him, or a really emotional, like they could do a lot of different things just with those few panels that set that story up. So I'm absolutely interested in where it's going to go. And I think it's got a great message. It's not really what you're doing, it's who you're around and who you're doing it with, and how you're experiencing life, and really the memories that you have is less by yourself, more with your friends and your family. And you know, that story that has been done plenty of times, but characters, comedy, and setting, it all really worked, and I can't wait to see what happens with it. So let's get on to the next manga. I'll probably not be in this hot car. I had to turn off this. My camera shut off twice because of the internal temperature. Boy, it's hot outside. If you don't know, be careful out here. I'm gonna go turn on my air conditioning and, you know, not want to pass out from heat exhaustion. All right, cool. I'll see you when I read the next volume. Bye. Okay, so we're back from work. The journey continues. Yona of the Dawn is the next one. This is the title I have always heard when it comes to shoujo. So I guess we'll find out. Volume 1, Yona of the Dawn. Let's do this. Okay, I have some thoughts. I have thoughts on this. Boy, all right. First chapter, I thought maybe I'm not into it. You know, maybe is this gonna be like a cousin? I was reading the first chapter and I was like, she's in love with her cousin, Suwon, and I just maybe not. But then the end of the first chapter happened, and then the end of the first chapter happened, and spoilers. He took out the king. I feel like I have to do a definition search of what shoujo is, because this has a lot of similarities to Vinland Saga. If you don't know Vinland Saga, I love Vinland Saga. I was taken aback. We are more than halfway through this journey, right? And I thought shoujo was gonna kind of be as what I always thought it was like it's got to do with love. And yeah, like love, she was in love with this dude. Turned out, took out her father. Hawk's also there as her friend. I'm a Hawk guy. I'm for Hawk. Hawk, A+, all the way. 100 already. First volume, I'm already pot committed. You know, I'm already pot committed to Hawk. That's what I'm saying to you, boy. Man, I really thought I was like, I'm gonna have to turn on this camera because it's such a popular series, and I'm not gonna like it. By the end of that first chapter, when it pivots into an on-the-run story with Yona and Hawk from Suwon, man, I was not expecting it. Very cool. Again, I see where Snow White with the red hair. Yes, they both have red hair, but like, I can totally see where they got their influence from this series. But yeah, man, I'm gonna have to look up a definition of shoujo because this is just cool. Like, why has this gotten such a bad rap? Like, I don't know, like, why are people like, I only like shonen? I think it's weird that anybody only likes just because it's a genre. Like, just read the story. If the story intrigues you, you should like it. It doesn't matter what genre they put it in or whatever, because I'm telling you, parallels to Vinland Saga. Moral of this video probably is gonna be, just read the stories and see if you like them. Who cares what genre it is? There you go. But no, with this series, unlike really, I feel like the other 3 series that had like a wide cast of characters, definitely Skip and Loafer that I read earlier today, and Nana, cast of characters, right? You're kind of following them through this thing. Yona really focuses on these 3 friends and kind of them growing up together, and then one turning on the other 2. And the other 2 kind of dealing with this betrayal. We kind of learn why he betrayed them. One, I have questions. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. All right, King Ill, I think his name was, seemed like a bubbly dude, you know, seemed like a good dude. So I'm already not buying that. So yeah, so we're watching these 3 friends getting flashbacks back to present after this big event happened, and now one of them is king and the other 2 are on the run from that king. And I think it's just such an interesting thing to deconstruct that friendship. And for 5 chapters, man, the author really built out all 3 characters, and they all seem very different, very well realized in just 5 chapters, which is totally impressive to do. The one thing, and I know this series has ran for a very long time, which means when I read more and stuff, I feel like this world, especially the aesthetic and kind of time period and era that kind of being, it's a fantasy adventure thing, you want them to build out the world, right? Especially when the volume ends and he's going back to his homeland. Like, you want them to build out this world. I think this world is already, it could be built out into something super cool. I think Yona could absolutely be an awesome character. Like, just kicking butt, taking names. I feel that's inside. Like, right now, she's going through some things, you know? That hairpin. She needs that hairpin. Stupid hairpin. I don't, just throw it at him. Listen, he did what he did. Move on. Move on with it. That's what I'm saying. I'm already invested. That's what I'm saying to you. But no, honestly, like, this has been a classic. This was a name that I had always heard when they talk about this genre of manga. And I really was kind of nervous that I wouldn't like it through that first chapter. That first chapter is super slow. So, in my opinion, like, it's super slow. But that turn at the end, and then where it propels the 2, what I consider main characters, well, 3, they're all main characters, but propel them in the story that I think it's going to try to tell is totally worth it. And I think if you give this whole first volume a shot, man, it was really shocking to me, is what I'm saying. I was shocked and turned, and I think it was really well written. The art really holds up. I think some of the art looks super fantastic. Yeah, I was not expecting this kind of story going into this series, and super glad I gave it a shot. So, what a journey it's already been. On to the next one.
We're back in the car. Yes, it's still hot. It's also raining. The sweater doesn't help, I'm gonna be honest. But we are reading the Haru Ride. I know I pronounced it wrong. It's okay. Well, we can get through this. But yeah, so let's get to it. Okay, Haru Ride. Actually, the creator said it means youthful ride, I think, in Japanese. It makes sense, and I'll tell you why.
All right. Oh, where to start with this one? So we have the love interests, Futaba and Tanaki, but he changes his name. It's a whole thing. I'll tell you about this one that kind of really stuck with me. Was she was in her head so much. I know that's like a story choice and it's a character choice, but it felt like the conversations didn't make sense. The best way I can explain it is like when I was reading, and maybe it's how fast I read it or something else, but the conversations felt like you started in the middle, barely said any words, and then moved on to the next conversation. And maybe that's the aesthetic they're going for, is like, because it's about high school and like floating through high school and things like that. But in a lot of the other series we read in this video, people were having conversations and there was very clearly a beginning, middle, and end. And maybe it's the main characters in this one, they don't say that much. Even when they're talking to each other, I guess she's shy. And that comes across, but it makes the words in the conversations feel very like you're only getting 50% of it. Because they don't say everything that they mean. And maybe it's an internal thing. I don't know, I really was put off by that. Very much so. I was also put off by Tanaka. That dude seems like a real douchebag. Obviously, though, it does come to find out that the reason that he went away in middle school and now they reunite in high school is because his family went through a divorce and his parents separated, and he's not very close with his brother. He has a lot of things going on within himself that he's not letting people into. Which I guess makes him an okay character, because you want to find out what it is. But in the first, especially 2 chapters, by the end of the volume, you have learned all these things. So you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That choice and that character trait makes sense now that we have learned all of these things. But for the first 2 chapters, you're like, dude, Futaba, why do you like this person? This person seems like a douchebag, to be honest. But Futaba herself, man, out of all of the main heroines we've read in this video, because we only have one more, I think we have HoriMiya after this, I did not connect with her. I didn't, nothing. I don't know if it was because she was in her own head and having monologues all the time. I didn't connect with any of her classmates. Again, by the end of the volume, it seems like they're trying to introduce 2 classmates that maybe will be a bigger part of the story. So, again, it might get good in volume 2 as a volume 1, setting up the world, the characters, and the story that it's trying to tell. In my opinion, out of the ones we've read, boy, I did not connect with this one whatsoever. The thing that I did connect with, I think this has some of the best art we've seen. Some of the panels in this manga are beautiful. They really are, man. I cannot overstress how good some of these panels and some of this art is. I really enjoyed that. I think that's what pushed me through it. But again, we have read a lot of stories that are very similar to this. Skip and Loafer come to mind. Like, I feel like there's a lot of parallels, obviously school life and friends and trying to fit in and trying to belong and kind of pining after a classmate. But the way that Skip and Loafer introduced us to a lot of interesting characters and introduced us to this friend group, this one was very much these 2 people, really Futaba. It's really a one-person story from their perspective, inner monologue. It is that whole thing. So if that sounds interesting, you might dig it. I might check out a second volume just to see, because like I said, by that 3rd chapter, they have definitely introduced some things that could be very interesting. But overall, as a volume 1, I don't know, this did not land super hard for me. But we have one more, HoriMiya. So let's get to it. We are on our final one. It's our final one. HoriMiya. It is the quintessential high school romantic comedy. Everyone, when you talk about like shoujo, teenage romantic comedy, it's always mentioned. And yeah, so let's see what volume 1 has to offer. We've done it. We did it. We finished it. HoriMiya, we finished the shoujos. And honestly, it actually didn't even take me a week. So I kind of lied in the title. I've lied to you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. It just makes a better title. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a better title, to be honest. And the reason I gave myself a week is because I truthfully didn't know how I was going to react to a lot of these manga. Like, it might have not been a one-sitting read. It might have been a two-sitting read, three-sitting read. I couldn't have got through. I had no idea going into this. So for the final one, I read HoriMiya. I did kind of cheat on this one a little bit. You know, a few years ago when it came out with the anime of HoriMiya, I actually watched that entire season. And honestly, between us, I didn't love that season. You know, I didn't love that anime. I think Miyamura and Hori are fantastic characters. I think they could be the quintessential, like, romantic high school characters. I think they're great. But even though they have great main characters and great pace, I don't know. The story did not grab me. At least for the first season of the anime, I did really enjoy this first volume. So maybe the manga gets better. I don't know. But yeah, I did kind of cheat. I have seen this season, and it's great. It's a good romantic comedy manga, and I think Volume 1 really lets the main characters shine. I will say the art, especially after reading the stack. Look at this stack. Reading this stack of shoujo manga, the art is nothing to write home about in this series. Especially, you know, you put it up with some bangers like Ride. Nana is fantastic. I mean, we have some really stellar art category manga in this list. But overall, I think HoriMiya is fantastic. And I'll actually do this, right? I'll rank them. Here we go. Let's do it. And this rank is more of like, you know, it's just my list. Out of these 6, which ones, you know, 1 through 6. Listen, I'm not saying they're bad. I actually had a great time doing this. Hopefully you had a great time watching it. But yeah, here we go. I know this is probably not going to surprise anyone. We have number 6, Ride. Like I said, I think the art, if we did art, this would probably be number 1. That's the crazy part. But the story just super didn't grab me. Number 2, HoriMiya. I think it's good. I think the comedy works well. The characters are great. This is an absolutely fine thing. But with this stack of contenders, it's a number 5. Number 4, Snow White with red hair. I surprisingly really enjoyed this series. Number 4, again, this is just a rank of just bangers. So, but I am definitely going to read a volume 2 of this series. Nana, number 3. I think the characterization is good, and I'll definitely read another volume of the series. Like I said, it's just my ranking. You've just watched this entire video. You know what I think about Nana. Number 2, Skip and Loafer. Listen, I think the story could be really, really interesting, and the characters really intrigue me. So, number 2. And the surprise to me of the century, most assuredly number 1. I am thinking about reading volume 2 when I turn this camera off. That's where I'm at with it, okay? Listen to me! I don't believe that the king was a bad person. That's the hill I'm on right now. I just don't think he's a bad person. And I think there's more to it. There's more to the story. If you would have bet me money at the beginning of this video that this would have been my favorite of the 6, I would have called you crazy and a liar. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. So yes, hopefully you enjoyed yourself. This was a super fun video to shoot. Let me know in the comments down below what some other shoujo or some other genres you want me to check out. You know what I mean? And I'll do a video like this for any genre that you're interested in. Because it helps me expand my horizons as well. And that's exactly what I want to do with this hobby of reading manga that I have fallen in love with. So, as always, especially if you made it to the end of this video, it means the world to me. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. And if you're having a bad day, I hope it gets better. If you're having a good day, I hope it becomes fantastic. I'll see you next time.